As the clock struck 10 p.m., my shift at the local gas station began. It was a small, isolated spot on the outskirts of town where the glow of street lamps barely reached. I had taken the job out of necessity, my daytimes occupied by college classes. The night shifts were eerie but manageable, or so I thought until that unforgettable night. It started off as any other shift, with the occasional customer stopping by for a late-night snack or a refill. The stillness of the night was comforting in a way, the silence only broken by the soft hum of the fluorescent lights overhead. I busied myself with restocking shelves and cleaning, trying to shake off the creeping sense of unease that settled in as the hours ticked by. Around 2 a.m., the air grew inexplicably colder. I wrapped my jacket tighter around myself, attributing the chill to a faulty air conditioner. That's when the bell above the door jingled softly, signaling a customer's entrance. I looked up, expecting to see a weary traveler or a local night owl. Instead, I found myself staring at an empty doorway. Puzzled, I called out, "Hello, can I help you?" But received no response. Shrugging it off as a trick of the wind, I went back to my tasks. Minutes later, the sound came again, more insistent this time. I walked to the door, peering into the darkness, but saw nothing. The uneasy feeling in my stomach grew. I decided to check the security cameras, thinking maybe they'd caught something I missed. As I flicked through the screens, my blood ran cold. There, standing at the edge of the camera's view, was a figure cloaked in darkness, its features obscured. But it wasn't the obscurity that terrified me. It was the way it seemed to stare directly into the camera, directly at me, as if it knew I was watching. I blinked, and it was gone. I rubbed my eyes, thinking sleep deprivation was playing tricks on me. Just as I was about to dismiss the incident, the lights flickered, plunging the station into darkness. Panic surged through me as I fumbled for my phone, using it as a makeshift torch. The backup generator should have kicked in, but it remained eerily silent. Then, I heard it. A soft whisper, like leaves rustling, coming from the back of the store. My heart pounded in my chest as I inched towards the sound, every instinct screaming at me to run. But I needed to know. As I rounded the corner, the whisper grew louder, morphing into a cacophony of voices, all speaking at once, unintelligible and frantic. I stumbled back, my mind racing. That's when I saw it, a shadow darting across the wall, too quick to be human. I sprinted to the front door, my only thought to escape. But it wouldn't budge. I was trapped, with whatever was tormenting me. The whispers grew louder, more demanding. I covered my ears, closing my eyes tight, wishing for it all to be a nightmare. Then, as suddenly as it had begun, silence. The lights flickered back to life, revealing the ordinary gas station once more, as if nothing had happened. Shaken, I checked the time. It was almost dawn. I had no explanation for what had occurred, no logical reason for the terror that had enveloped me. I considered quitting, but pride and the need for a paycheck held me back. I told myself it was a one-time occurrence, a product of fatigue and an overactive imagination. But every night since, as the clock strikes 2 a.m., the air grows cold, the lights flicker, and the whispers return. Each night, I brace myself, hoping to make it through to morning. I've tried to share my experiences, but the fear of disbelief keeps me silent. So I endure, trapped in a cycle of fear and dread, wondering what waits for me in the shadows of the night shift. This experience has taught me that some things defy explanation, that fear can manifest in the most ordinary of settings. And as I clock in for another shift, I can't help but wonder if tonight will be the night the whispers decide to reveal their secrets.
In the depths of the night, where shadows twist and merge with the dim light of my desk lamp, I find myself enveloped in a silence so profound, it feels almost tangible. My name is Alex, and for the past year, I've been working the night shift at a remote data center, a place where the hum of servers is the only constant companion in the vast, empty halls. This story, however, is not about the loneliness of the night or the eerie calm of an empty building. It's about the night when everything I knew about my reality, my sanity, was challenged. It was a night like any other, with the moon hanging low in the sky, casting long, sinister shadows through the windows. My tasks were mundane, routine checks on the systems to ensure everything was running smoothly, a job I could do with my eyes closed. But as the clock struck 3 a.m., a time known among the night shift workers as the witching hour, a sudden chill crept down my spine. The temperature in the room dropped noticeably, a phenomenon I attributed to the building's erratic HVAC system. Yet, as I reached for my jacket, the first anomaly of the night made its appearance. A soft whisper, barely audible over the hum of the machines, echoed through the room. I froze, my hand still outstretched, my heart pounding in my chest. "It's just your imagination," I told myself, trying to shake off the unease, but then it came again, clearer this time, a whisper calling my name. "Alex." Panic set in, my rational mind grappling with the impossibility of the situation. There was no one else in the building, security protocols ensured that. I mustered the courage to stand, my eyes scanning the dimly lit room for any sign of intrusion. Nothing. The only movement came from the flickering light of my monitor. The only sound, the now menacing hum of the servers. Determined to prove to myself it was a figment of my imagination, I decided to make a round of the building. The hallways were empty, the only light coming from the emergency exit signs, casting an eerie red glow. Each step I took seemed to echo, magnifying my fear, making me jump at the slightest sound. It was when I reached the heart of the data center, a room filled with rows upon rows of servers, that I saw it. A shadow, darker than the surrounding darkness, moved between the servers. It was shapeless, formless, yet unmistakably sentient. I stopped dead in my tracks, my breath caught in my throat as the shadow seemed to pause, as if noticing my presence for the first time. Then, in a movement too fast for my eyes to follow, it disappeared. Panic turned to terror, my mind racing with thoughts of what it could be. A trick of the light? A burglar? Or something far more sinister? I didn't want to find out. I turned on my heel and ran, not stopping until I reached the safety of the security office. There, behind locked doors and surrounded by monitors displaying every corner of the building, I felt a semblance of safety. I spent the rest of the night watching the screens, jumping at every shadow, every flicker of light. But nothing happened. No shadow appeared. No whispers reached my ears. As the first light of dawn broke through the darkness, I began to question my sanity. Had fear and isolation played tricks on my mind? I was ready to believe that, to chalk it up to a night of high nerves until I checked the security footage. There, recorded in the grainy footage, was the shadow. It moved with purpose, searching, always seeming to avoid the cameras directly, but there was no denying its presence. I watched the footage until the morning shift arrived, my mind reeling from the implications. The next night, I returned to work with a sense of dread, but nothing happened. Nor the night after that, nor the week after. The shadow never appeared again, and the whispers remained silent. Eventually, I convinced myself it was a one-time occurrence, a combination of stress and the peculiar atmosphere of the night shift.
On a crisp autumn evening, I found myself stepping into what would become my personal theatre of the macabre. My name is Ellie, a recent college graduate with a degree that seemed more decorative than functional. Desperate for employment, I accepted a position as a night security guard at an old museum on the outskirts of town. A place that housed relics of a bygone era, from ancient artifacts to paintings whose eyes seemed to follow you. The building itself was a relic, with its creaking floors and the musty scent of history that clung to the air. It was here, among the echoes of the past, that I encountered a horror that defied explanation. The first few nights passed without incident. My duties were simple: patrol the halls, ensure the exhibits remained undisturbed, and above all, maintain the silence that enveloped the museum after dark. It was a solitude I found comforting, a respite from the chaos of the day. But as I would soon discover, the night was far from empty. It began with the paintings. Each night, as I made my rounds, I couldn't shake the feeling that the portraits had shifted, their eyes following me with an intensity that bordered on the accusatory. I laughed it off as a trick of the mind, the product of too many hours spent in solitude. But then, the whispers started. Soft at first, so faint I thought them the product of my imagination. They grew in clarity until there was no denying their presence. They were not words, but sighs, the kind that spoke of long-held sorrows and unfulfilled desires. I searched the museum for the source, but found nothing, the whispers fading whenever I drew near. My unease grew with each passing night, a sense of foreboding that made my skin crawl. But nothing could have prepared me for what happened next. It was a night shrouded in fog, the kind that swallowed the world whole. As I made my way through the Egyptian exhibit, the air around me grew cold, a chill that seeped into my bones. And then I saw it. A figure cloaked in shadows, standing before the sarcophagus of an ancient pharaoh. I froze, my heart hammering in my chest as the figure turned to face me. Its eyes glowed with an unearthly light, its features obscured by the darkness. I wanted to run, to escape the terror that gripped me, but my legs refused to move. The figure approached, its movements silent, ethereal. And then, just as suddenly as it had appeared, it vanished, leaving behind only the echo of its presence. The rest of the night passed in a blur of fear and confusion. I reported the incident to my supervisor, expecting skepticism, but instead found belief. The museum, it seemed, had a history of unexplained occurrences, stories that had been quietly passed down through the generations. My encounter, I was told, was not the first, nor would it be the last. I continued to work at the museum, the allure of the unknown drawing me back night after night. The whispers became my companions, the shadows my guides. I encountered the figure several more times, each encounter leaving me with more questions than answers. Who was it? What did it want? The answers remained elusive, the mystery deepening with each passing night. My time at the museum taught me that the world is filled with wonders and horrors beyond our understanding, that history is not as dead as we might believe. I've since moved on, leaving the night shift behind. But the memories of those nights remain, a haunting reminder of the time I spent in the company of ghosts. This story, unlike any I've told before, is a testament to the mysteries that lurk in the shadows, a reminder that the past is never truly gone. It's a story of fear, yes, but also of fascination, of the unquenchable human desire to explore the unknown. And as I sit here, recounting my tale, I can't help but wonder what other secrets lie hidden in the dark, waiting to be discovered.